and welcome back to the sideboard here at Star City Games Baltimore. My name is Ruben Bressler, and I am joined now by Brian Braun-Duin. How you doing, Brian?
I am doing well.
Doing great.
Doing brilliant.
Well, BBD has written an article on the deck that he's playing today. He's doing well with it, and this is Ozrhov Guildgate, otherwise known as Black-White Midrange. So
otherwise known as just Ozrhov Guildgate. There's no
other cards.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Like, what else do you need?
I mean,
lead with Ozrhov Guildgate, they can't win.
It's true.
And you wrote an article about this deck, so I'm just going to let you briefly explain the genesis of this deck and why you decided to play it.
Okay. So the deck started out as an idea that I had, and there were a few articles written with similar ideas, so apparently I wasn't the only one to stumble upon the idea. But basically, like, the black-green rock deck was almost a mono-black deck, and it had green for a few powerful cards like Ooze and Thragtusk. And the question was, like, why does it have to be black-green? Why can't it be like black-white or black-red or whatever? So I went about the task of trying to build a black-white version, and that featured Restoration Angel as the linchpin card. And it's evolved from like 4 Blood Barons to none and a bunch of stuff along the way, but that's basically how it started out for me.
Sure, and basically it's a mono-black deck. We have Mutilate as the central piece here that's really holding the thing together, is why you're playing mono-black, because you have so many swamps, you want to have the Wrath.
Exactly. Like, one of the advantages of playing so many swamps is definitely access to Mutilate, which is really key in a lot of matchups. And also, playing that many swamps gives you access to Geralt's Messenger.
Right, Geralt's Messenger is another fabulous creature in its own right, has 2 lives, and it gets blinked by Restoration Angel.
Exactly, yeah.
And so you can easily turn into the aggressive deck with that card. You can also play defense with Geralt's Messenger in this deck, which is a little surprising.
It is, and that actually is like a pretty awesome thing, is against some decks that are just like playing multiple Thragtusk, like the Reanimator decks, you actually can't get aggressive with Messenger. You have to keep trading with their Thragtusk, then like blinking it with a Restoration Angel so you can trade with another Thragtusk and try to like grind him down that way.
Now, Restoration Angel also good on offense and defense, and another card that is basically the card of this tournament is Desecration Demon. Both good on offense and defense again, and in this deck it takes very good advantage of it.
Well, unfortunately he's not good on defense when he's tapped, which happens a lot.
Sure, but on defense, especially because you have Restoration Angel,
right?
They will sacrifice their creature, and you can still blink it untapped.
Yeah, you will, like, they'll sacrifice their like Strangroot Geist to try to get in with all their guys, tapping your demon. Then you can just blink it with Restoration Angel. Because it's a one-time trigger, they can't sack another guy, and they're just left to like get completely ranched by your blocks after that point.
Now, you don't have Sphinx's Revelation in this deck, or do you?
I do, actually. It's the Black Sphinx's Revelation.
It's Disciple of Bolas.
Nasty Disciple of Bolas.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you draw 6, gain 6, or more off of a Desecration Demon. If he's already in play, Restoration Angel can blink it and then draw 3, gain 3 off just the Angel.
Exactly. That'll happen a lot of times. Like, my favorite curve with the deck is like turn 3 Geralt's Messenger, turn 4 Disciple to sack the Messenger, and then the next turn I can Restoration Angel the Disciple and sack the Messenger again.
Right.
And now I'm like
draw 7, gain 7, and you've dealt them a bunch of damage.
Right. And I can like throw some Tragic Slips in from here and there as well to go with it.
Absolutely, yeah. And so that's basically the main deck. It's almost mono-black, and you've got Restoration Angel. Then the white is a lot of support cards.
Yes.
Particularly 2 enchantments that I want to point out. The
Yeah.
first being Oblivion Ring.
Yes.
Oblivion Ring in the main deck?
2 in the main deck, no more in the sideboard. I feel like 2 is pretty much the optimal number for this card. Basically, Oblivion Ring gives you some access to something that the black-green decks can't have, which is main deck answers to Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Planeswalkers are the bane of this deck, especially ones like Sorin or Garruk that start making creatures because you can't like pressure them with Desecration Demon because they have a wave of creatures you keep sacking. So having access to Oblivion Ring like gives you answers to those cards, and you draw so many cards that you're going to hit one most games.
Now, the other one I want to talk about is in the sideboard, and that's Blind Obedience. It's a card that's picked up in a little bit of popularity recently.
It's actually in the main deck.
Oh, it's in the main deck?
It's in the main deck.
Wow. So 1 or 2 in the main deck?
2 in the main deck.
Wow.
1 on the board.
Because of the popularity of red-green, chiefly?
100. Actually, that's the only reason. The red-green deck, as I came to find out, was the worst matchup for this deck. I think my record against it on Magic Online was something like 2-15.
Sure.
I was losing every single time I played against it, and I was beating almost everything else. So I figured I'm just going to play like the best setup I can to beat this deck, and that involved main decking Blind Obedience. And in fact, I played it once this tournament, and Blind Obedience probably gained me like 16 to 20 life.
Nice. So one other card I want to discuss about the sideboard is Pithing Needle.
Yep.
When you have the black-green version, you have answers like Putrefy and Abrupt Decay.
Yes.
For tough to deal with permanents, but when you're facing down a Scavenging Ooze or an Olivia, especially, but also it's a good catch-all against Planeswalker.
It is. It's another answer to Planeswalkers. That's the main reason for Pithing Needle is like Domri Raid. Pretty much is the main reason, but also like Garrix. It's also a good answer to Aetherling. It's a good answer to Underworld Connections. There's
Underworld
just a
Connections
number
naming Swamp, for example.
For example, yes. It's just an answer to like a variety of cards. It's good against almost every deck, and it's actually probably the best performing sideboard card for me in general.
Now, this is a deck that I imagine you'll be working on going forward. You're X-1 already, having won the Weight Watchers mirror match against Ali Antrazi last round.
I did, yeah. There's a battle of who can lose more life
points.
Life points, and it was him.
And it was him that particular round. And so, going forward, are there any changes that you expect to make to this deck?
Right now, I'm actually very happy with the list. One of the main things that I did was I cut Lifebane Zombie from the 75 entirely, and I'm playing Vampire Nighthawk instead, and Nighthawk has been amazing, and I do not regret that decision at all, and I will continue to be Nighthawking people. Unfortunately, I lost round 1, but I've been winning since that point. So
absolutely, you're on an undefeated streak, and you're doing well, and you've been on camera a couple times today and won every time you've had the opportunity to appear on SCG Live. So
I have.
We'll see if we can keep that going and get something interesting into the top 8. See if we can punish the Jund and red-green format a little bit with Ozrhov Guildgates.
Yeah, Guildgate would be pretty sweet in the top 8.
Nice. Well, good luck going forward, BBD. Always a pleasure to have you here in the sideboard.
Thank you.
Braun-Duin. I'm Ruben Bressler here at Star City Games Baltimore.